Japan. A beautiful country with a lot to its culture. Here, 21 castaways agreed to come out and survive in the wild. With 3 tribes of 7, one tribe goes to tribal council every round of the game with the task of voting someone out. But immunity will always be on the line. The challenges this season will be extremely competitive and will force the tribes to work hard and earn their safety in the game. These players will need to outwit the rest and get to Final 2. Yes, Final 2. The game has gotten harder this season. Which 2 will make it to the end after 30 long and hard days? Find out now on this season of Survivor Japan. Host Justin stands in front of the 21 castaways that are about to fight it out for the next 30 days to see who will become sole survivor. He introduces the 3 tribes to the game and asks a few people some questions. He faces the red tribe and asks who the woman in the hat is and why she is here. The woman says her name is Nicola, and she came on to Survivor because she has been a fan of the show since she was 17, which was 9 years ago. Justin then faces the black tribe and asks the man in the red coat who he is and if he thinks he can survive the elements out here. The man says his name is Antonio, and he admits he's not sure how he'll do out here considering he's only 18 years of age. This, of course, shocks everyone as 18 is fairly young to be on the show. Justin then faces the blue tribe and asks the woman in the red shirt who she is and what winning Survivor would mean to her. She reveals herself as Avery Lee and says winning would mean so much to her since she's from a small town that nobody knows about. The money would support herself and her family due to their lower income. She wants this money to pay off any expenses she has, including medical bills. As Justin prepares to move on, some of the blue tribe notice Avery Lee's scars but continue to listen to the host. Justin reveals the names of the tribes one by one. He says red is called Reibu, which means live in Japanese. Black is Tabu, which means eat in Japanese, and blue is Tatakai, which means fight in Japanese. He hands over their buffs and tells all 3 tribes to find their way to their camp where they will reside. They all head out as day 1 officially starts in the game. At Reibu, everyone arrives and introduces one another. After settling a plan to upgrade their camp, they all split up. Jonathan immediately goes to the pond and instead of working to gather materials for the camp, he plays in the water as he's excited for the season to commence. Meanwhile, Nicola, Aaron, Rocky, and Michaela meet up and bond over their personal lives. Eventually, Rocky presents them as a cool Core 4 alliance that would work well together, and here we have our first alliance of the season. They call themselves the Power Structure, as they plan to never vote each other out while also creating personal bonds with the outsiders. Nicola immediately gets to work on Orniel as she learns he's a loyal player. She tells him she loves loyalty and appreciates when she watches her favorite players play the game with loyalty. Of course, this is a stretch on her end, but she's doing this to gain his trust. After parting ways, Orniel walks around camp and eventually stumbles across the Red Tribe hidden immunity idol. He snatches it and hides it in his jacket. Nylene and Zonathan link up later on and have a long 1-hour chat about their personal lives. Nylene sees him as a father figure as her father is also a pilot, but in the military. They agree to work together as a duo and plan to feel everyone else out on the tribe before determining who they want to work with. Aran later joins the two to see what they are up to, and they tell her they were just talking about their personal lives. Nothing pops up game-wise with these three for the rest of their conversation. Let's move on to Tatakai, who is already done setting up their camp. It seems that Kenny, Monica, and Avery Lee have hit it off strong as the three of them agree to work as a trio. Eventually, Robin joins in and they invite her to their alliance. She accepts and claims she cannot wait to rule the game with them. While the four of them have their conversation, Caleb listens in from nearby and learns everything about their alliance of four. While going out walking, Sierra finds a hidden immunity idol and quickly hides it in her pants. Caleb later finds her and tells her that although they never got time to properly meet each other, they need to start playing the game fast because he knows about a majority alliance of 4 people. He tells her that Kenny, Monica, Avery Lee, and Robin are those 4. This immediately worries Sierra and she agrees with him that they need to get Marvin to work with them before the 4 get to him first. Sierra and Caleb later find Marvin and pull them aside where the other tribe members wouldn't find them. Caleb explains about the majority alliance and invites him to work as a 3. Marvin says he's down and tells them he's a loyal man and will never break from their alliance. All 3 put their hands in and cheer. On to Tabru, where their camp is also already set up. Annette talks with Angel and Bane and tells them she is originally from France. She always wanted to travel to Japan and here she is. Angel finds this really cool about Annette and tells her she has a lot of friends from France and knows the French language slightly. Annette then asks her a question in French, but Angel shakes her head and laughs as she has no clue what Annette just said. Meanwhile, Daryl gets to work immediately as he talks game with Antonio right off the bat. After hearing he is 18 years old, Daryl sees this as a great opportunity to use Antonio as a number. Antonio reciprocates as he tells Daryl he loves the idea of playing the game right off the bat. Daryl admits it's fun and smart because creating these early alliances are much more reliable than creating alliances the next day. Later on, Cindy joins Annette, Angel, and Bane. Bane asks Cindy what career she's in. She responds and says she's a professional volleyball player. Angel says she assumes she is a bodybuilder as well because of how much muscle she has. Cindy slightly rolls her eyes and awkwardly laughs as she says not every woman with muscles works as a bodybuilder. The conversation then goes quiet and everyone agrees to split up to gather more materials. Night 1 finally arrives. Many people on Rebu are cold and huddle up together. However, Nylene and Zonathan are noticeably distant from the other 5 on the tribe. Those 5 all discuss how distant they are and theorize they are working together. Aran backs this up as she ran into them talking and they claimed they were only talking about their personal lives, but she felt like she ran into a game conversation. Orniel suggests for the 5 of them to vote one of the 2 out if they lose immunity, and everyone agrees. Later on, Aran and Nicola chat alone and discuss a final 2 deal with each other. They like each other the most right now, but are also happy to stay loyal with Rocky and Michaela as much as possible. Back on Tatakai, Kenny asks Avery Lee about her scars on her cheeks. Avery Lee reveals she was shot in the jaw during a robbery gone wrong, so the scars are from her many surgeries. Kenny feels sympathetic towards her and this strengthens their relationship. Sierra later reveals to Caleb that she has the hidden immunity idol. This gains a lot of trust between the two as Caleb thanks her for this information. He warns her she might have to save one of the three of them at their first tribal since there is a clear majority right now. Sierra says she plans to use it on either herself or Caleb since she assumes the tribe will want Marvin to stay as the physical guy on the tribe. Later on, Kenny and Marvin bond on a personal level. Marvin reveals he's not a tough guy, but is rather a very soft person. He claims he is very dedicated to making Tatakai a successful tribe, and Kenny appreciates his attitude. Later on, Robin and Sierra have a game chat as Sierra feels her out for some information. Robin doesn't end up telling her much, but does reveal that she feels like she can't trust Caleb because he's always sneaking around. Sierra then jumps on and says she feels the same and wouldn't mind voting Caleb out first. Of course, Sierra is saying this to stack votes on Caleb and save him with her idol to blindside someone from the majority crew. On Tabru, Cindy talks with Daryl and explains how she got a poor first impression on Angel. Daryl says he's worried about her because she seems like a very social and bubbly person. Cindy suggests they vote her out first if they lose immunity this round, and Daryl says he could probably get Antonio and Clarence on board. Later in the night, Antonio searches for an idol in the dark and successfully finds it. He picks it up without anyone noticing it and hides it under his hat. It's day 2, and it's also time for the first immunity challenge. Justin reveals the 2 immunity statues the tribes can earn if they win immunity. First place gets the biggest statue, and second place gets the smaller one. In this challenge, everyone will need to crush apples with their feet 2 at a time on each tribe. Once crushed fully, they will then use the juicer machine to empty the bucket and then run onto the tribe mat so the next person can go. The 2 tribes that get all 7 members onto the finish mat will win immunity, sending the losing tribe to tribal council. The challenge begins, and on each tribe, we have Orniel and Nicola going for Rebu, Annette and Antonio going for Tabru, and Robin and Marvin going for Tatakai. Nicola and Orniel take the early lead as they finish first, allowing Michaela and Jonathan to go next. Robin and Antonio finish from their tribes, but Marvin and Annette are finishing up last. Soon after, Jonathan and Michaela continue the lead for Rebu as they finish, allowing their next 2 members to go. Monica struggles to empty the bucket for Tatakai, losing precious time as she gets her tribe in last place for a while. Nylene and Iran extend the Rebu lead as they finish up, allowing Rocky to head up last. However, Cindy and Avery Lee eventually are allowed to go as the last members from their tribe. With Tatakai initially being last, Avery Lee makes a giant comeback as she finishes before the others, and wins first immunity for Tatakai. Between the other 2, thanks to the lead Rebu had all challenge, Rocky finishes first, giving Rebu the second immunity. As a result, Tabru will be heading to the first tribal council of the season where someone will become the first person voted out of Survivor Japan. As Day 2 resumes back at Tabru, the tribe prepares for the upcoming tribal council tonight. Clarence and Cindy have a chat about the vote tonight. Cindy asks him what he wants to do tonight, but he doesn't have a clear answer. He claims he doesn't want to suggest any names right now because it's too soon. After that useless conversation, Cindy goes to Angel and Bane to hear them out. Angel suggests they should vote out someone who hasn't been showing signs of staying Tabru strong. Bane then calls out Clarence for being very quiet on the tribe and considers him a good first boot. Cindy asks if they worry about idols, so Angel thinks it would be a good idea to split the vote between Clarence and one other, most likely Daryl because he seems the least likely to be bothered by gaining votes. Of course, this is great ammo for Cindy's game because she wants Angel out of the game. Later on, Daryl has his chat with Clarence about meeting Angel out. However, Clarence immediately feels overpressured by Daryl and feels uncomfortable about this. Clarence soon after goes to Angel and Cindy and warns them that Daryl plans to vote Angel tonight. Angel says it shouldn't be a worry because they can all vote Daryl tonight. As Clarence heads away, Angel winks at Cindy and lets her know that they should still split the vote and vote Clarence out. Annette and Antonio then chat about the vote tonight. Annette seems very set on getting Clarence or Daryl out since they seem like the two outsiders. Antonio asks what the vote count might look like, and Annette says the current plan seems to be a split vote of 4-2 between Clarence and Daryl, with Clarence going home. Antonio nods and says he assumes he's voting for Clarence, and Annette nods. She too will vote Clarence, and so will Angel. This leaves Cindy and Bane voting for Daryl. Night 2 finally arrives, and it's time for Tabor's tribal council. Justin meets them there and asks them to each light their torch and place it in the back. They all then take a seat as Justin begins the tribal talk. He begins with Annette and asks how it feels losing the first challenge. Annette of course says it feels awful since she feels very responsible for their loss due to her choking during her turn. She didn't feel like she did that well. Justin then asks Antonio if he thinks he could be in trouble tonight as one of the younger players, but Antonio says his age is just a number at the end of the day. Daryl then whispers to Antonio while Justin asks Angel how connected the tribe is. Angel claims the tribe has some weak spots, but for the most part is fairly strong connection-wise. Justin asks her to clarify who the weak spots are, and she points out that Daryl is one of them because he's not putting enough effort into speaking with everyone. He isolates himself in a way. Daryl speaks up and says that he's not the type of person who plays a fake game by talking to everyone, because at that point you'd be lying to someone about who you are voting for. Angel asks if the reason he did not talk to him today is because he wants her out, and he doesn't respond. Justin asks Clarence the final question of the night as he touches on the fact that there could be an idol out there or even in someone's pocket tonight. Clarence says he senses someone has an idol tonight and wouldn't be surprised if it was used already because nobody feels fully safe tonight. With that, Justin prepares everyone for the vote. Let's see how tribal turns out now.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote, Angel. Daryl. 1 vote Angel, 1 vote Daryl. Clarence. That's 1 vote Angel, 1 vote Daryl, 1 vote Clarence. Clarence. That's 2 votes Clarence. Daryl. 2 votes Clarence, 2 votes Daryl, 1 vote Angel. Angel. We're tied, 2 votes Clarence, 2 votes Daryl, 2 votes Angel, 1 vote left. First person voted out of Survivor Japan. Angel.
Bane, Annette, and Clarence look at Angel, shocked by the outcome. Daryl smiles as Angel sets her torch down next to Justin and watches it get snuffed. Angel says her goodbyes and heads out. Antonio gives a nod to Daryl after successfully sniping Angel out of the game. With that, the tribe heads back to camp. Next time on Survivor Japan. After Angel's departure, Bane and Annette struggle to figure out what went wrong with their split vote plan. Meanwhile on Tatakai, Sierra tells Caleb she believes the majority will try to vote him out. Would Sierra really use her idol on him? Plus, a pretty useful reward is on the line as one tribe is granted the power to temporarily kidnap one person from each of the other 2 tribes for the whole round. Stay tuned next episode on Sunday. Angel's final thoughts. Angel was blindsided for sure as she expected Clarence to go home tonight. She didn't even mind if the vote changed to Daryl. The split vote clearly failed and Angel believes Daryl, Clarence, and Antonio voted for her to go. At this point, she is rooting for Bane to make it far.